All right, Carina, thank you so much for being here. I feel like it's pretty random that we met through the Facebook group and whatnot, but I feel like we're speaking the same language a lot. So let me tell the audience a little bit of who you are, and then we can jump into it. So, Carina Reeves, one of the things that she believes the most is everything you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. And that speaks to me right away. She's an intuitive mindset coach and knows exactly how to turn your mess into magic. Directly channeling source and shifting your subconscious belief system, Karina uncovers the quickest and easiest ways to turn your don't like situations into unmistakably magical manifesting. You are allowed to have more you've been dreaming of, is what she believes. And Karina guides your way with grounded healing, body loving, truth uncovering, magic revealing coaching. Damn, Karina. Do we just stop the podcast now? I think we got it covered. What do you think? When I first read your bio, I was like, I think, yeah, like this is going to be good. So even though that's how I introduce you, why don't you tell the audience a little bit more of what you're up to? I'm sure a lot of people that are listening have no idea what source means, first of all. So why don't we start there? Give us some
Oh, I
background.
love that. I love that so much. I call it source. I think most people for thousands of years called it God. Universe is extremely popular. I feel like we could do what's that game where they have like the game board and the popular answers? There's a game show where you like have what is that game? Anyway.
Jeopardy?
Family Feud.
Oh, I love that show.
So I call it source. I like that it feels like it's everywhere. I like that it feels like you can tap into it anytime. I like that it has a neutrality and a power to it. So when something is the source, it can be a beginning, it can be a top up, it can be a reframe. So I say source. And if you want to call it Mother Earth, if you want to call it, God or universe, like we said, that is what it is. It's the stuff in which we swim. It's the ocean that we swim in. And it's where we come from and the energy that's walking with us in our lives.
If someone isn't religious or spiritual today, can they get there? Is that a choice? Do they just wake up one day and want to be spiritual? Were you always spiritual?
Mm. Well, what popped in my head when you said that was, I'm a trained classical cellist. And if you don't believe in something bigger than yourself, when you are in the thick of like the best of Brahms, Mozart, Bach, Beethoven, Mahler, like it moves and shakes you. It really, really does. So I've always been connected to stuff bigger than myself, for sure, for sure. I did not grow up in a religious family. I had music that was bigger. I believed that there was more. And I think that it was my quest for finding the more that put me onto the spiritual path. So can you develop that connection if you feel like you don't know where to find it or you don't know what it means? 1,000,000% yes. Is that a thing? Anyway, 100% yes. In fact, I would go so far as to say that you cannot disconnect yourself from source. So we're all in it all the time. And how you choose to see, to feel, to be in the space of your life, in the moments of our day, right? It became really popular with the power of now, with Eckhart Tolle, to be really aware of the now. And one of the things that I really love is, of course, being grounded in the now, but also I have this idea that I call top down, bottom up. It looks like a tree in my mind, where you know where you'd like to go. And you also know, and you're also aware of like the pieces that are part of what you can turn to, your tools or your awarenesses, or like the nuts and bolts of your life. And to me, the path is the walking of going towards where you want to go. What is your vision? And yeah, I feel like it's okay, so yeah, you're always in source. And I think it's important to say that maybe this is jumping ahead. We can sort of riff from here, but
Don't worry.
there's there's a piece where people feel like they're not, if things aren't going well, you're not doing it right. And the reason why I talk about mess so much is because when you have the belief that things are working out, whether things are going well or whether things aren't going well, they're all on the path to you figuring out where you want to go. So when things aren't going well, that might be a time when you sort of might want to go back to your bottom up. What are some tools you can use? What are some skills that you have? What sort of are the ways that you can help create more flow? And then when you get things that are coming that are sweet and beautiful, to celebrate I don't know if I can swear, the heck out of that stuff.
But talk to me around, I find, and not just with myself, with a lot of people, when things in your life aren't going as well, it's hard to have faith in the process and that things will get better again. So, how does someone continue to believe in that, again, things will be okay?
Mhm, totally, 100%. And, often for a little while, it does feel like it's going to be okay. And there's a space that you can give yourself for that too. Hey, right? Like, it's amazing how many layers of resistance we can be in. And if you need like a Ben and Jerry's and a soft cuddly blanket, Netflix binge, sometimes that's just what you need, and that's okay. And that's I I have, in the course I'm teaching, I have us make a love menu. I was making a love menu because when things get really hot and get really confronting and really challenging, it's our brains literally scramble. Like, one of the first things to do is to soothe yourself and let your nervous system calm down. We do not have, I mean, people who are in this work, there's some things that we hear over and over again. So we become really aware of the parts of the brain. Our brains don't know the difference between saber-toothed tigers and an email from a friend or family or boss who's mad at us. Like, it doesn't
No, those are the same
difference.
thing. What do you mean there is no difference? I would
Exactly.
probably I prefer the saber-toothed tiger than a bad email from a manager, to be honest.
Which is also why people are like, gotta get back in our bodies. Because with a saber-toothed tiger, like, you can, like, your muscles you get to fight that thing or run or do the thing. And with the email, you just sit there and you freak out a little. So when you're sitting in the freak out, one of my tools is giving yourself permission to freak out. Here I am in this place that I don't like it. I'm scared. I'm I think there's three core wounds. There's the fear of not being loved, there's the fear of not belonging, and then there's fear of not being safe and being
And
attacked
that's
by
not
someone.
just something you experience growing up. That happens in everyone's day, every day, probably.
Yeah, 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 totally. Totally. The permission to have yourself feel whatever you're feeling with whatever happened. I hear a lot of shoulds come up around experiences. Well, they had it worse, so I really shouldn't be upset about that. Or, I really haven't, I haven't, the grammar is just gone out the window. I have it so good. I have it good. So, I shouldn't complain about that. And going back, I'm going to keep trying to pull things back to what you do when things don't feel like they're working, is the shoulds, the resistance to where you are. So both the shoulds that I shouldn't be upset about it, the shoulds that I shouldn't be where I am. What I love about the reframe that I really enjoy is giving yourself the space to be where you are takes away one more layer of resistance. So if I know that I've been able to step back into my healing, into my flow, when I can start being curious about what's happening, when I can start to be like, oh, look at that. That feeling really reminds me of this other thing. Or, wow, I can totally tell that I am way overreacting to this. I think I'm gonna pull on one of my body skills to like just give myself some soothing, get myself calmed down a little bit, and then I can start asking some questions. And I do a lot of work with the body. Like I can okay, we're going to get a little woo woo here. So, there's no time, right? So I can feel right now that some of the people listening to this in the future are a little bit like, what's going on? What do you mean that everything's fine when everything feels like it isn't? How can I be curious about that? I need to go and, slay the proverbial dragon. I need to go fix. I need to go do. And you may be someone who feels better after going for a run. That might be part of your soothing system to get like back in your body that way to get rid of some of that excess energy. And the desire to do and to fix is actually also, if it's all the time, will distract you from the, I'm going to call it the lesson, but that's a little bit crunchy. I don't like the word lesson. Let me try it again. That's going to distract you from the message of the learning that your body and your energy is calling you into. I'm seeing you nodding, telling you what you're thinking.
But Karina, it's so easy to tell people that just be in the present. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about what's happened in the past.
Mm.
That's so easy to say, but how does that look in practice to
Mhm.
someone that really does not know what that means?
Totally.
How do I become in the present? Do I sit still? Do I just calm down? Walk me through
Mm.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's going to be a little different for everyone, right? So I feel like part of part of this, and I'm using air quotes, path is seeing who comes into your field, seeing who you want to learn from, seeing what tools speak to you, and you'll develop your own love menu of like the things that you like. What I've noticed as a place to start, so we talked about soothing. So there's like letting yourself get out of the saber-toothed tiger's jaws. So that can be literally the first thing. And then when you're ready to take another look at what's happening, you're ready to breathe into it. One of the things that I find is that our culture disconnects us from our bodies. And our bodies are really trying to talk to us, and we're trying to fix it so that they're not uncomfortable. But actually, and it can feel really scary. It can feel life or death scary to feel our feelings. Tell me if this resonates. Have you had a big feeling come up and you're like, hell no, I don't want to feel that because it might never stop?
Yes, all the time. I'll give you an example. I one weekend I was just very overwhelmed and I went to for me when I get in nature, I feel a lot more connected. And nature, whether it's go for a walk or I'm in water, like ocean water. And living in Toronto, it's hard to find a spot in Toronto that's nature with no one around. And so I ended up finding myself down, by Lakeshore, just near near one of the swimming spots, and so I sat there, and all of a sudden I started crying, and I'm like, "I am on a full-on beach right now with tons of people." It's one of the hottest days of the summer, and what do I do? Do I have sunglasses on, thankfully, but yeah, the emotions were just coming, and I wanted to feel them, but what do? Do you just let them keep going? Do you drown them down and push them down? I don't know. I let most of them come out, to be honest. Probably looked like a crazy person.
Is it crazy? Maybe you're being a feeling leader. Like, we all cry. Do we want to have like the full on hiccup, like wailing in public? No, no, not really. But if it happens, the world won't end. And there's an honoring of there's an honoring of yourself that can be more important than having the decorum of being in public.
You mentioned a lot around living in these types of cities and society. We both live in Toronto, so we know what that's like, that it's very easy to get disconnected from your soul and who you are. But how do you get reconnected? Is there a tactical thing to do? Is it just being silent and still? What do you recommend?
Mm. So are you kind of asking how to get grounded and to connect with yourself or with source? All the things. Okay.
Let's start ourselves first, and then we'll raise it a level and talk
Yeah.
about source.
Huh. What if there's no difference?
Hey, talk to me about that. Because
So,
some people think it's a huge difference, especially I have a lot of resistance around religion. I do not like religion, but I do like spirituality and faith and a higher power and energy. But I don't know if a lot of people know how to separate them. And I don't know, but I also don't know if I should say, I don't know if people probably realize they're the same, you know?
so should you separate religion and spirituality? Is that what you were
Is it
saying?
is it is it the same?
So to me, and I'm not a theologian, so I'm sure people out there have like, please write in and give me your beautiful, much more elegant ways of putting it. To me, religion is man-made. Spirituality is each of our connection to God's source, universe, the world. I realized that I didn't actually finish the earlier question, and I think they tie together. So, be it reconnecting with yourself, reconnecting with the energy that you're in, reconnecting with the earth in a troubled place, or just you've decided to meditate. I think one of the reasons why so many meditation practices come back to the breath is it's one of the simplest ways of doing and being and feeling something in the body. So even if I'm going to do another practice, I'll usually consciously take a few breaths. And it's interesting, actually, I find it remarkably difficult. This is one of my own practices right now. The minute I follow a meditation or lead or am leading myself in something, the minute I'm like, okay, take a few deep breaths, I instantly change how I'm breathing. I find it really hard to breathe just as I am once I notice it. Once something is noticed, this is just a little aside. So it's interesting. It's a fun game. I'm like, can I just breathe while I'm noticing breathing? I always want to go deeper. I want to change things. I want to do all the things. Anyway, so I love starting with breathing. And I had this revelation, I think it was a couple of months ago now. I had this revelation just how magical, it sounds stupid. It's like babies discovering their feet, but just how magical breathing is. Like literally, we are taking the world around us into our bodies, and then the parts that have been in our bodies play with the outside of we are literally never contained. We are always through breath intermingling. So that can be a beautiful picture to image to realize how much we're connecting with the world around us. And then one of my anywhere, anytime connecting practices is, what am I feeling in my body right now? It is the ground zero for me of wherever you want to go. It is how our higher selves talk to us. It's how source talks to us. It's how our trauma and our healing talk to us. We can also get visions and awarenesses and, stuff that comes in pictures or sounds or words, but feeling what's happening in our bodies. Our bodies want to be felt and they want to help. So when things come up that are uncomfortable, like we were talking before, when you feel like you aren't grounded or when you feel like things are happening that you don't like, taking that space and that time to listen to your body. And this is a really interesting thing. I'm really curious to hear what you think about it, where you take away the stories of why you're feeling what you're feeling and you let yourself just narrate, notice what you're feeling. So, for example, I can feel that this is going to be hitting some people later. That's my story because suddenly my body has gone really hot. I'm feeling some fluttering in the top of my chest. Got a little bit of also fluttering in the bottom of my stomach. And then just noticing those couple of things then I will come back to a stillness and just let that sit for a minute and see. I'll just listen and see if anything else would like to be felt. Or now that I've tapped into those sensations, this is a perfect time to get quiet and see if those sensations want to share anything with you. Do you ever do anything like that?
Well, that gives me the idea. I remember being in a lot of yoga classes where they spoke a lot about if you have a thought, weren't they telling me almost to avoid that thought? Like stop losing yourself in thoughts and just be here?
Mhm.
So how is that different? Should I be following the thoughts or should I be here and avoiding the thoughts? I
I
guess
think,
depends if I'm in a yoga practice or if I'm
yeah,
in my
and
everyday
they can,
life.
yeah, and they can all be practices. I've had times in my life when I've gone into meditation where I got to bring a pad with me because once I start calming down and being more grounded, it's like I've had spaces where when I let myself get calmer, suddenly the channel to what my brain's been trying to tell me opens up. And I'm like, okay, this is a meditation pr- uh, space. I guess this is a space that I'm in right now that's less about meditation. Maybe that makes more sense and is more about like channeling what's next or things that I want to remember. Or so I'm a really big fan of choosing the practice that I that I want, that I'm desiring, that I'm leaning into, and stuff happens. If it turns out that this is the time when I need to have a big cry or when I remember something that that's a vision that I want to step back into for creating something. I love that interplay that when you start creating a space for yourself, it can be all about getting quiet, seeing thoughts moving through, coming back to the stillness, more of a classical meditation, if you will, or you can use it for anything. I've used that grounding space to sort through conflicts that have arisen or problems that I haven't known how to solve. I, yeah, how does that? I have one more thing after that, but how does that feel?
I like that. I've noticed that breath work and meditation have become very mainstream lately. You see a bunch of instead of going to a soul cycle class, I can go to a meditation class and get a full on subscription here in Toronto now. I feel like they've all popped up out of nowhere just over the last couple of years. Why is that, I wonder? What do you think?
Mm, I didn't
It's
know
become
that.
more
That's
popular and it's become trendy now, hey?
become trendy. Well,
Like
there
breath
are.
work, meditation classes, calm, headspace. It's cool to meditate now. If you're not meditating, you're kind of not cool. That's what I'm getting.
Oh God, how
Maybe I just have a
should
lot
it
of judgment on myself.
do you feel like you should be doing it more?
Yes, Karina, should is my middle name. So when you said
Mm.
that earlier, I resonate 1000%. There's 1,000 things I should be doing, you
Mm.
know?
Do you want to do a bit of energetic magic about that?
Sure, you're putting me on the spot. Let's hear it.
So what I'm going to be doing is
Before we start, what's energetic magic?
yeah. So it's one of my favorite tools.
Mm.
It is all about connecting to source. You've just told me an issue that you have. I connect to source and I can hear the beliefs and stories in your subconscious that's keeping this loop happening. Looking at my son just walked by. That's keeping this loop happening. So I can hear when you're lying to yourself. And so sometimes I'll be like, that's not true. And you're like, it is true. And I'm like, okay, well, your subconscious disagrees. And that's good information, right? So there may be a little bit of ego that comes up. We're very attached to the things that we know and our habits. So if you have a should habit, there's also a distraction that's happening from other things that are possible for you. Because if you didn't have that, there's some ease and some flow that would be happening. So sometimes our habits are also ways to keep us small. So you can feel a lot of energy come up sometimes around the loops and the things that are keeping us stuck. Because as we're stepping into bigger spaces, it also means parts of us are falling away. So how it works is I'll ask you, you told me what's going to happen. I connect to source. I'll start somewhere. It might not be the perfect clearing. Usually we have to sort of go little ways through. We'll sort of find our way through together. You maybe like that doesn't resonate at all. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll try again. And I'll ask you something like, are you willing to step out of the story that, or are you willing to destroy the belief that? And you just have to lean into feeling a yes. And sometimes it can feel a little crit. And I invite you to think about how cool it would be to be on the other side. Ooh, well, if that's what's coming up and I'd like to not have my shoulds, then maybe I'll just try saying yes and see what happens. The truth is, you can pick up your beliefs again anytime. That's one of the things too, is being in a bigger container, working, the man who taught me energetic magic, he taught me that you can pick up those beliefs again. So there's something to be said too for keeping into the bigger containers of working through whatever is coming up to integrating it and having it go to those deeper. It will be the deepest level, but the habit of being in that new space can sometimes take a little bit of time. So,
Well, I'll be honest, I am so uncomfortable right now.
yeah. Yeah, I can feel it. My whole, yeah.
I'm so anxious.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're going to ask me, and I'm very
Right.
on my seat.
So I'm not going to do any clearings then. Do you want to just have a little bit of a conversation about shoulds?
Either or.
Okay.
I'm uncomfortable, but I'm willing.
Yeah. Oh, you're the best. That's awesome. And like just celebrating that you're willing to lean into that. You're willing to have that discomfort, that being uncomfortable, like we started this whole thing, being uncomfortable doesn't mean it's wrong. It's actually maybe a sign that there's something else possible there. I had someone describe it once. They're like, if someone accuses you of being a murderer, you're going to be like, okay, whatever. And it's just going to like fly by you because it's just not an option. Well, for most of them, it's just not a thing. You're like, well, okay, whatever, weirdo. You can think that if you want. But if someone accuses you of being unkind or unhelpful, or I don't know, whatever the things are that maybe are rattling around in your fear brain, then you're gonna be like, am I? How did they know? What did I do? Because it's something that's actually a fear of yours. So
I don't know if I heard a quote or if I've read it somewhere, but the premise of the quote was, when we judge others, it's actually just a mirror into what we don't like about ourselves, because that's why we notice it. So Karina, if you were, for example, if you were late all the time and I was really pissed off about, like, Karina's always late, she's never on time, she doesn't care about anything, my time or anything, it's probably a reflection that I don't want other people to think I'm late, even though I might have been late before, you know?
or it might not be the late issue that you want everyone. It's really important to you that people see you as doing things properly, and that being
Yeah.
on time is something that's proper to you. So if you do things properly, then there's respect. And so if someone does, there's sort of like a couple of couple of leapfrogs to it, and then you feel disrespected, you feel not seen, you feel not valued. And Karina is just blundering around looking for her keys and cursing and like apologizing repeatedly and texting you from the subway and the signal's out.
I use that example because, and any of my friends can speak to this, I used to be a chronic late person. And when I look back, yeah, I had no respect for anyone else's time, honestly. I thought my time was more valuable than theirs. Truly, if I really look back at it, I'm not a late person anymore. I can honestly say that. And yeah, it took a lot of reflection though. It was a lot of like early 20s, that attitude that you have that age. But yeah, it took some reflection to realize that and to get my ass in gear.
Yeah. And there was an ass in gear. And then there was also, I, I'm, tell me if this is true. I want my friends to feel respected. I want to respect my
Absolutely.
own time. Yeah. I want that space, our space, it as of connection, our relationship. I mean, friendships are relationships too, right?
But that being said, now if I have someone that's late for me, I have a lot more grace about it now. I don't, if someone's 5 minutes late to a meeting, I do not get worked up about it. So,
You know that they're working through their own stuff. It's not
yeah.
personal. Yeah.
But Yeah, exactly what you said. I don't take it personally at all. Usually what I'll do, so say because we're in the type of world that everything is a Zoom call these days,
Mhm,
what I do is say if our meeting's at 3 o'clock, I'll give it until 3:05, and then at
mhm,
3:05, I just end the meeting, and I usually just send an email just saying, "Hey, like, happy to
mhm,
reschedule." Simple. I don't get worked up about it. I move
mhm.
on and do my next thing. But some people get really worked up about that.
I have a friend. Oh, the community just went like this. Don't talk about masks. Anyway, I'm going to talk about masks. I have a friend who was like really worked up about it. He is like, he goes down rabbit holes on the internet. He has extensive conversations with his family. Like it is like a hot topic. In fact, he was late for a call that we were on, and I was like, oh, that's okay. It wasn't our usual time, so I knew we were both juggling childcare. And I was like, I just went a bit down a bit of a rabbit hole. And he's like, oh, what was it? And I was like, oh, I was reading this really cool thing about how emotions that learn, what was it? I love this article so much. It was that what we call our emotions is a cultural construct. And I was like, eating it up. It's amazing. He's like, oh, he said, I thought you were going to talk about masks. What's it? But so the reason why I brought it up. So this is something to try on if masks make you crazy or something that makes you crazy. The way I feel about masks is, are we wearing masks today? Okay, I'll wear a mask. It's that simple to me. I don't have a personal freedom at stake for wearing a mask. Is there research one way? Is there research another way? Yes. And I don't want to personally spend my time worrying about it because this is what's happening. And so I just wear a mask and then I take it off when I'm outside of the grocery store because I don't like it either. That's, yeah, can it be that simple? Let me just think about that for a second. There will be bigger things. There will be bigger things. And some things aren't bigger. And some of the bigger things can simply be you don't have the capacity to do that thing. And then that's okay. And then giving yourself the grace to let that thing go. So if I'm stuck in the trains down and I'm going to be, well, there's Zoom calls now. So somehow I can't get on the Zoom call for 20 minutes. I can't get on the Zoom call for 20 minutes. And if you freak out at me, I know I did my best. And that gives me some grace for trusting that I did the best I could, even if someone is upset with me, even if someone is really mad at me, if I'm doing the best I can, is there anything else that can be asked of you?
It's so hard to not take things personally, though. It's not an age thing, it's not a
No,
maturity thing. My mom takes things personally all the time,
same,
and
same.
I have a lot of empathy for her, but sometimes I find it a little funny, and she'll listen to this episode, I'm sure, but sometimes I find it a little funny, like, "Why do you care? Like, it's nothing to do with you. Why are you so involved and worked up in it?" But and a lot of it's probably because she genuinely probably cares.
She
And
genuinely
wants
cares.
to have control over it and wants to have things to work out the way, and she spends so much energy on it. But it takes a lot of awareness to just kind of release control and be like, "Not my issue," you know?
There's more than one layer. If you're really hot under the collar about something, it's not about that thing. It's not. It's just not. So we distract. So going back to the feeling your feelings, going back to what's happening in your body, going back to having learned how to hold yourself in the mess, in the discomfort, the running around and the caring is trying to fix it. If I fix that thing, then I won't have to feel uncomfortable. And I believe in turning it on uh, flipping it around. Oh, I'm really uncomfortable about this. What is this discomfort trying to tell me about? Is it that I feel disrespected? Okay, then maybe I need to have a look at my self-esteem. Maybe I need to have a look at a belief that's coming up that if I do X, then I should be Y. If if people are kind to me, that means I'm a good person. If no one's late to meet me, that means I'm respected. Whatever the correlation is, but if we're running around freaking freaking out. And like, it's okay to be angry and it's okay to give yourself the space to like vent and blah, 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 all the things. I love doing the thing where I haven't heard to do that as much anymore, but I've been through some interesting times in my life. And I'll just need to like yell about it. I'll just need to have a good yell and pillows, bellowing, dance party with screaming, like, duh, just sometimes letting it out can be so good.
So cathartic.
So cathartic. And knowing that you're doing it without the shoulds, when you can do it without the story attached. Oh, I'm so mad at them. Oh, I'm so mad at them. Oh, I'm so mad at them. That'll never stop. But if you're like, okay, here on my body. Oh, I feel that anger. Oh, anger. Oh, okay, shaking it out, shaking it out, shaking it out. And it starts to, as long as you can step off the hamster wheel of the story, your body can start to process it through.
I like that a lot. Obviously you coaching, you have a lot of clients. Is there a similar type of client that finds you, or do they have a similar issue? How do they get to you? What's happening in their life that they're like, oh, I need to meet with Carina? Is there any similarities?
Everyone seems to be having some mother issues right now. There seems to be like
Really?
cohorts of things. There's like cohorts that come through. Yeah. So right now it seems to be a lot of mom issues, which
New moms?
No, dealing with our moms.
Oh, talk to me. Give me some examples. Is it women coming to you about their moms, or?
Well, they didn't come to me about their moms, but then we get into it a little bit and then the mom stuff comes up. So there's mom stuff. There's mom stuff. We want our moms to be happy. We want them to be happy. And I think a happy woman in, well, I'm 50 now, so we're 49, but 60 and
Really?
above. Yeah. Oh, I love you. Thank you. Okay. Full disclosure. Jenelle told me how to put this like filter thing on Zoom. So I am looking even better than usual.
See, it works, doesn't it? I have it on too. And with a ring light, it does not look like this. This is a filter.
I don't think there was a lot of happy women. I think there's a lot of unhappy women. I think we try so hard. And right now, especially, like, we know all the things, and I should be doing meditation now that we know the tools. Now we're beating ourselves up about the tools. See, the beating yourselves up is what I'm trying to interrupt. The tools, if they become a should, they're no longer a gift. So then, like, I am a big fan of like pouring a glass of wine and relaxing. Like, get yourself relaxed first, and then we can talk.
Wine solves a lot of things.
It's not the end all be all. Like, it's to get yourself calmed down. And then I can look at this tomorrow. Today, it's okay that I just can feel a little better. And it's not to, see, there's a loop that can happen where I feel good enough that I can just do it again. And that's not what I'm talking about. A love menu is something that gets your nervous system calmed down so that you can go back to what had come up for you, to see it, hold it, shift what needs shifting, love what needs loving, expand what needs expanding. It's interesting. I had a woman today. She was like, oh, I love your posts on Facebook so much. They remind me to stay positive. And I was like, oh, that honestly never occurred to me that was, I do not feel like my goal is that you can be positive, that there is space for positivity, but that there is absolutely no pressure to do it. And that honestly, sometimes you need to go through a little shit to get back to the positive. And the more we're like, that's where that whole, have you heard about the spiritual bypassing thing that people are talking about now? Where
No, tell
because
me.
yeah, because we know we're supposed, here's the shoulds. We know we should be loving. We know we should be positive. We know we should be kind. We know we should have gratitude. Like we know so many tools and so many pieces that we're like, okay. If I just do those things enough, then everything's going to be amazing. Oh no, it's not amazing. I've got to do those things more. I'm so wealthy. Those-
That hits home. It's like, oh, my life's falling apart. Maybe I'll just write 3 pages of gratitude and everything will be okay. Not that quick. Sometimes things in life still happen. It doesn't matter how gracious and happy you are, shit's still gonna happen, you know?
What happened? Yeah. Oh, I feel that. So what happens when you write in your gratitude journal?
For me, I used to do it as a practice every single morning. I used to do the 5-minute journal, but the version
Mhm,
for me, and I used to do it in the morning.
mhm,
For me, it allowed me to go into a day thinking of things I already cared about and loved.
mhm,
So if there are crappy parts that are happening in your day, you already kind of have those things in the back of your head being like, I am grateful for that. I am grateful for this. And sometimes I almost used it as if someone in my life was kind of pissing me off,
mhm,
say if a manager I just like didn't like,
mhm,
I would start my day, and if I was having kind of, like, issues with them, I would
mhm,
start my day writing in my gratitude journal, "I am grateful for my manager," and
mhm,
saying a lot of nice things and almost tricking my brain and being like to see them differently,
mhm,
and it works. It's a
mhm.
really weird thing, but it works.
That's super cool. I've never done that. That's super cool. I have a couple questions for you. Would you be open to that?
Of course.
Okay.
The tables have turned.
So how did you feel in your body when you were writing? Can you picture back to writing, just picture a particular day or particular thing that you were writing that you were grateful about? And can you share with me, can you tap into and share with me how you felt in your body?
It makes you take inventory in a good way where and I used to write, more than 3. I used to do a practice where you'd had to write almost like a full page, and once you kinda get to half the page, you kind of already done, like, "I am grateful for my friends, I'm grateful for my family." But as you get down halfway through the page, you're like, "Okay, I really need to think about this now, I need to get very specific." So, you could say something like, "I am grateful to have a full-time job in a pandemic. I am grateful to be able to have a family that loves you." You're able to get more specific, so then you actually feel the feelings, you know? Where
So
it's not
tell
just so fake, where it's like, grateful for my friends, grateful for my family. It's you're not just rhyming them off, you're sitting there and, like, really thinking, like, "What is a time that I was really grateful?" You know? And it
yeah.
makes you reflect, and it's like, "Oh, wow, there's a lot of good shit in my life." You know?
Where
That's how
did
it makes you
those
feel.
Yeah. Where did those first ones come from? Those, okay, I'm grateful for friends, I'm grateful for my blah blah. Where did that happen? Where did those come from in your awareness?
I am a pretty grateful person in general, but I don't think I would have what I have and be what I am without the support system around me. I'm a very independent person and I can kind of put blinders on and do my own thing, but I get a lot of comfort from knowing that no matter kind of what happens to me or whatever I'm up to, I still feel like I almost have just this comfort of home, that there are friends and family, and if anything happens in Toronto, I can go home back to Newfoundland. Like, there's a lot of comfort around that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And here's what I'm noticing. Can I tell you what I'm noticing?
Of course.
Okay. A lot of what you're sharing is coming from your beautiful supercomputer in between your ears. And what I actually asked was, how did it feel in your body?
Oh, I am very analytical. I'm very thinking, not feeling. That's a good point. I would say it feels calm.
Hmm.
It feels reassuring. It feels love, obviously. It feels unconditional, non-judgmental. Yeah.
So where's the calmness in your body?
I get for stress for me, if I'm stressed, and you can ask any massage therapist that ever had me, it's all in my shoulders, my like ears to my shoulders. So I find like when I'm a bit more calm, it's just like my shoulders are a
Mm.
little bit more relaxed. I feel a little bit more grounded and yeah, so I would say shoulders, back. If I'm tense, like it's all in my back.
And
But
did
it
you feel
feels
your shoulders relax right now? Just now? Did you feel that?
yeah, I would say for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What else does gratitude feel like? So it feels like calmness and love.
Mm.
Where's the love in your body?
I feel like that's definitely like stomach, like where the same way you feel food, where you feel like warmth, like full, you know?
Italian.
No, I'm not. Should I?
I know.
Do I seem?
No.
Oh, I'm from Newfoundland, so very food family culture there.
Beautiful. So just tapping into those two sensations in your body, your calmness in your shoulders and your warmth of love in your tummy. How do you feel now in your awareness, just having tapped a little bit more deeply into these parts of your body, into these sensations?
I feel like tingly, as if honestly I probably just smoked a little weed.
What?
To be honest.
Oh, I, that's one of the reasons why everybody's getting a little bit high on meditation and breath work. Like breath breath work and ecstasy and orgasms and oh my, like there is energy. Whew, there is energy that is just waiting to explode. There, I'll just word it
That's
like
all of those answer. That's how I feel. Sorry, mom and dad.
I'm cheering you on. So when we can bypass, so what was really, when you listen to the, if you listen to this, if you do the replay, when I asked you the question, you went into, you used the pronoun we. Well, we do blah blah, like you were teaching for the people out there, but I was asking about you. So there's a good awareness of what do I do for me? Letting it be that what do I need? Not what would you think would be good for me, but what do I need right now? That's a good, pronouns can get a little bit tricky, especially in an interview. Like, who are we actually? Am I teaching you? Are you teaching me? Like, am I talking about the listener? Am I talking about myself? Ta- Use the I. I feel this in my body. I'm scared that I feel a fluttering in my stomach. Those, let yourself feel. And then it's like, it starts to ground a little. You have gone in 3 layers deeper the minute you go below your neck. Like your whole energy now, I don't know if you can feel it too, but you're more in sync with the wholeness of you as opposed to deciding with your mind what needs to happen next. It's like your more of you has come online. Do you feel that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And all you did was just ask what the sensation was in your body from being grateful. And what's really cool, here's a really, someone's listening this far, you get like a super awesome secret tip. Here, this is it. This is it. Everything that you want, that you think you want, more money, more sex, more cars, more better jobs, better bosses, better houses, whatever, better food, whatever it is, we want it because of how we think it'll make us feel. So when you can really give yourself the space to figure out what it is you want that thing to have you feel, I guarantee it's a sensation that is already in your life and you can tap into that sensation more. And that actually is the real law of attraction that starts to bring more of that in your life. So, Jenelle, as you start feeling that gratitude of like spacious, like relaxation in your shoulders, then when you feel gratitude, it's not deciding you're grateful for something. You'll actually tap into that feeling. And then you'll notice, well, where else do I have that feeling? Oh, I have that feeling when I'm sitting with my first cup of coffee, or when I'm petting my cat, or when I'm breathing in this beautiful fall air, or, oh, then, oh, I'm having that feeling. Oh, this is gratitude. So it becomes this cycle of the experience with your senses and the experience of your sensations. And whatever it is that you think you want, when you expand the sensations that you want it to get you, you are already putting money in the bank. Like that is what we want to be pulling into our lives, those beautiful, amazing feelings.
I need to like tag team a different interviewer in here because I'm like, oh, it's like being done like a yoga class where I'm like, like namaste. I have nothing to do or say now. My brain's dead. Is that the ultimate
I
goal?
blew up the Janelle.
Yeah.
Sorry. But she's
Speechless,
looking really
not
happy.
thinking anything. I'm like, no one really knows the person that I am when I'm not thinking and deciding and
And like those are the masculine parts of our body, right? And they're really handy. They're really useful. I
they
just
get me
learned
through
recently
life.
they can I reframe that for you? How would it feel if they contribute to your life?
I like that better.
I have a new person who I'm learning from right now, and I'm very, very excited about her. And she is big on the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And one of the examples she showed was that, or she explained, was that our calendars are very masculine. What are we doing? When am I doing it? Where is it? Who's it with? It's like all that sort of very functional stuff. But it's just such the perfect thing to have be in service to the feminine. The feminine, if it needs time to create, I'm going to put it in the calendar, and then the calendar can organize when I'm going to be doing the other things. The calendar is in service to me, even though I will follow the calendar because I have set it up how I like it. Do you see that surrender that can happen when we let ourselves be in the flow of what we want? We still need the masculine to make things happen. But the feminine creativity and the feminine vision and the feminine, it's a little bit of chaos there. A little bit of chaos that we need in order to have the spark to create something. When you're creating, you don't actually know what's going to happen. You don't know it, which is kind of exciting and scary all at the same time.
A lot of my network and circle of girlfriends are very similar to me, where business people. So using a lot of masculine energy all day. And then 5, 6 o'clock comes and we want to switch to the dating world. How do we switch to the feminine after that? It's so hard. I'm in a relationship and I I deal with that every single day, where when to turn the masculine on off and when to turn the feminine on. It's difficult.
Oh, that is a big conversation. I am very curious about that. Where I'm going is I'm wondering if there's a way of having the energy and flow of your day be in more balance. I don't know. I this would be something for us to follow up with, because I would love to see if we could have the structure of your masculine give you more space for your feminine, so that it is not a day or night. It can be like the yin yang symbol. It can be the flow of the both. Yeah, I can feel this capacity of you young women are just so amazing. Like you can do all the things. You can do all the things, but are you feeling like a magnificent, glorious woman? No.
I was having this conversation last night with all of my girlfriends who were all similar age, all in our career and working in our career. And a lot of them are saying they feel like they have to choose career or choose dating. And they don't feel like they can have it both. And they don't feel like they have the time. If they want to be, say, top of the pyramid in a business, they don't feel like they can also have a flourishing relationship and a family. They feel like they have to pick. I personally think you can absolutely have both, but I can't tell you how.
Oh, I can. It's called hired help.
That's when I'll move my parents to wherever I live.
And you can do anything with enough support. It's when we buy I'm going to say buy the lie because it rhymes, but that's a little bit glib, but that we can all do everything. No. Mm-mm. And I find for me anyway, my rebel comes up when too much is demanded of me, then I turn into all the either procrastinator or the screw you all, yeah. So, okay, but let's take what we have right now. So let's put that conversation on how to have more feminine integrated into your day.
We'll do another episode on that.
Yeah, you and I should talk about that. How to switch. Mm-hmm.
Or even to add to what you were saying, if we all live in such a calendar structured world, how do we find more flow in our day, but still kind of do that 9 to 5 business world?
Oh,
How do we add feminine energy? Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Because one of my fantasies is having a really, really, really good, or I've heard about this actually for other people, when you don't have to worry about the details and you just have to show up as you, your brain is free to be creative, to connect, to imagine, to like the amount of space this is a perfect example. Here we are. We have scheduled this call. Are we controlling the call? Are we, in fact, Jenelle said to me before we started, she's like, so basically we're winging it. I'm like, yes, that's my favorite. I can't memorize an answer to a question. I mean, my God, no, thank you. So here we are. We've scheduled it. And now we're in our feminine brilliance of letting it flow in the most perfect unfolding. I am fully in the belief that this is going to unfold beautifully.
What I'm hearing from you is not to show up with an agenda. And I say that because I've seen this in my own experience of coming to a meeting, say a team meeting, a business meeting, and it could be just like with your 9 to 5 job. If you come into that meeting being like, I need to get this, and this point across, I feel like the meeting always gets derailed and it's never, you just come in with so many expectations. But if you just come in and you're just like almost literally just pouring the coffee and getting there and being like, I don't even know what this meeting's about. Usually the meeting flow is a lot nicer. I don't know.
I have a word switch I'd like you to try on. So when I think of an agenda, I think of goals. Does that resonate for you? So what if we switched the word goal to the word vision? So I'm thinking of some businessy things like I'd like having a vision of 3 new clients in the next couple of months, having the vision of a new campaign that's killer, having the vision of increasing our community outreach, our whatever. I'm doing. That's my attempt at business right there. So
no, you killed it.
Okay, thank you. So all of those things could be goals. And the minute I say goal, my whole energy, like you can't see this, so my hands are coming together and it's like I'm like sand through the hands, the clench of the empire shall, something about empire and the rebels in Star Wars that comes to mind. Like it gets all right. Whereas when you have a vision, oh, my girlfriend Brene Brown had the most amazing, I love her so much, had the most amazing podcast. She had this guy on who has a book that I have to read, and he talked about being stretchy. And if you're being stretchy, you're the guys in the garage doing whatever it takes to build the thing, as opposed to hanging on to the market share that you've already accomplished in the first quarter.
You laugh, but that is spot on. That's exactly the sentence that would be said in a meeting. But Carina, to make you laugh on my end, I'll give you a sense of the energy that I come with to a meeting.
Yeah.
I am that person that comes into a meeting saying, what's our KPI for this meeting?
Yeah.
That's exhausting. I'm exhausting myself.
You're exhausting. What's a KPI?
Basically, it's saying what's being measured here. So say if we were running a marketing campaign and I said, what's the KPI? Are we measuring conversions? Are we measuring the amount of impressions? But even like coming into a meeting, asking that, like I agree there is a time and place, but I love your version of why don't you just come and say, What's the vision here? What do we want? Even what do we want to accomplish? I don't know. It sounds lighter to me
Sure.
in a
But
good
I'm going
way.
to blow your mind one step more. You ready?
Please.
Doesn't matter what you say. You could talk about KPIs. If everybody knows what you're talking about, it's language that fits. The exact same action, the exact same words can have thousands of different energies behind them. So if you come in with the energy of, you feel how much you're in your brain, what's the KPI here? Like it is like, it's like a laser beam. Versus if you're like, yeah, it's the difference between the gratitude that you've decided and the gratitude that you feel. If you really want to know what the KPI, what are we measuring? You really want to know. That is like an honest inquiry, as opposed to the thing that you need to say to get to the thing of where you're going to that other thing because you need to get there. Otherwise, all shit's going to hell.
It's like you're in my brain.
Maybe I should go to business people. We should try that.
Carina, you will have a damn field day.
Okay.
Coach business women, like masculine business women. You'll have a
Okay.
damn field day.
Okay, we'll do a little beta testing and see if some of these ideas, see how they feel for you. That would be really fun. I'd love that.
And I'm an easygoing version of it and not very, I used to be pretty rigid, I would say, and very type A control, but I've chilled out a bit over the years.
Chilled out a bit. Okay. And yet, look how strong the should is strong within this one.
It still is. It's a lot less than it used to be, but
Yeah. 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 KPIs can be beautiful. It's really valuable to have everybody be on the same page, to know the truth of your KPI. That's good information. That's good to know.
but what I'm hearing is it's the type of energy that's surrounding that question.
Yeah. Always and every time. It felt like an epiphany to me. I don't know when it was, still like the beginning of the summer. So still mid-pandemic. I'm looking out my window. And I'm seeing all these people. I live right across from this very popular bakery. Like people, the lineup Saturday morning is like off the chart.
Because you're up by High Park, right? Yes.
I'm in the Junction. Yeah. So I live right by
right
by Mabel's. Everybody loves Mabel's.
Oh, I used to live by the Mabel's on Queen Street.
Yeah. And there's one on, the original one's on, I walk by sometimes on Rotsey. Yeah, they're really good.
They make a damn good smoked salmon bagel.
I was keto for a couple of years, so I don't really eat much of this. Anyway, it sounds amazing. And I would see people walking by, and I would realize I have no idea what's happening in their life. They're just walking on the street. They could be ecstatic. They could be suicidal. They could be about to ask someone to marry them. They could be just coming back from a car accident. They could be thinking nothing. They could be hatching the new, I don't know, product that's going to change the world. And they're just somebody walking. Anything could be happening in their sphere right now. And I got
That's
kind of excited
so
about
powerful.
That. That's really inspiring.
But also, I get a lot of compassion there, where it links to you don't know what anyone's going through, you know? So, like, just back off a bit, you know?
Yeah. And if we can switch, there's a tiny bit of should energy there. Can you feel it?
For sure. So it's not going away anytime soon.
I'll just keep pleasantly reminding you.
Please. I don't mind at all.
So instead of I shouldn't be upset at them or I shouldn't be angry, we'll go back to the being late thing because that was really helpful. I shouldn't be mad at them. I should lean back. Instead, tapping into, okay, when I'm grateful, my shoulders feel good. But something with my friend where my shoulders really feel good. Oh yeah, that time when we like drank tea until 3 a.m. and talked about me blowing that test and having to take a year over at university and how it changed everything. And then we discovered this about ourselves and we like it just, and you're like, oh, there's stuff I can't even imagine going on. I love her so much. I hope she's okay. And it's not about you anymore.
I like that a lot. Where did you learn all this, Carina? You didn't This is not something that you study in school. This is not something that you just wake up and are able to teach things.
Mm-mm.
You weren't always doing this. What were you doing before this type of work?
I was blowing up marriages and getting mad at people a lot. That's what would be nice, but I thought that would be funny.
No, my God, that's one way to lean you into this work. Hey,
Yeah. Yeah. That's when I started. Like, I've always been a self-help person. Like we talked about spirituality. I always knew that there was more possible. I always knew that all the shit can I swear? I'm already
yes,
all
I've
the
said
shit
damn like every sentence in this
I'm
podcast.
dropping the F-bomb. All the shit I've been fucking up, I know it doesn't need to be this bad. I just know it. I know I have more things possible. I know more things that are possible, and I'm gonna find it. Like, if nothing else, I had this determination to find it. But really it took so I divorced in 2014, and I really wanted to own my contribution, my half. I wanted to own my half, and I wanted to really get under the hood to start figuring out what it was that I had contributed to the situation. And source plopped a mentor in my lap. I went to someone recommended going to a meetup with this man. He called his workshops clearing the crap. Very inelegant, just exactly.
Sometimes you need a workshop that's called that because you feel that you resonate. You're like, you get where I'm coming from.
This will be a no nonsense space. Okay, got it. And I went, and the workshop itself was pretty good. I liked it. I liked him. He was cool. And then afterwards, he was offering, he's changed the name. What do they remember what they were called? Anyway, now they're called energetic infusions. I teach them now too. And basically, you ask for something you'd like. You're gonna love this. You ask for what you like. I bring the energy to your third eye. And when your barriers, when you let yourself receive, hashtag really hard for women. So there's some stuff there. I can feel it. Your knees give out and it goes into your body and you collapse. And literally your cells drink in this, whatever it was you wanted, more money, more love, more whatever it is. And I went and got one. And you cannot argue with your knees giving out. You cannot argue with your body collapsing. And when I felt that, I was like, I need to know more.
What was it for you then? What did you want more of? If you remember?
My kids.
Harmony?
Mm-hmm.
How old were your kids at the time?
About 4 and 6. 9 and 11. It's still a work in progress. Being a mom is the hardest thing I've ever done.
It doesn't change. Every day it's work in progress with my parents, and I'm close to 30.
It doesn't, and it's kind of like a video game. It's nice that there's always another level. Oh, cool. That's cool. Like that. I had a bunch of stuff happen last week that blew up my life. I'm like, oh, okay, well, guess I've got some stuff that are there that I'm ready to learn now. Was it really uncomfortable? Yeah. Did I call out for some serious support from my peeps? Hell yeah, I did. And I loved what I learned and what I found and what I saw and the stuff that's moving through and that is feeling clearer and sweeter and better now. Like, do I want it to occur that way? No. But if that's the way that it occurs, I'm also open to sometimes you need to blow some stuff up to make a little space. So, okay, so be it.
I love the quote, you don't get sunflowers without the rain. You don't get sun without the rain. Like you have to have the crappy parts to realize how good the good parts are, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And here's the cool thing that happens when you're in flow. What if you don't have to, but it's just what's going to happen anyway. So I think what you're, yeah, okay, no, I get it now. What you're really offering is a space of not having to resist it because it's just going to happen anyway. So it's a way of talking yourself out of resistance to it. Is that right? Am I getting it better now?
Yeah, like releasing that control.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Releasing the control. Sometimes, do you ever have something that you like that a friend hates? Like some people are like, oh my God, it's raining. And I'm like, oh my God, it's raining. Let's go feel the rain on our face. I mean, I am from Vancouver, but the exact same thing can have a totally different reaction from different people.
I always use the phrase, don't yuck my yum.
Don't yuck my yum.
Don't you hate that when you say you love something? Say, let's say if you're like, oh, I love coffee, and someone's like, coffee's gross. You're like, you literally just ruined my favorite thing for me. Don't yuck my yum. You know? They just like rip it right out of your hands.
And guess what they did that with? It wasn't the words. It was the energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they could have just said, oh, really? Coffee's gross. And it wouldn't affect me.
Or
It's the tone and the
and
energy.
the energy. And, you know, my boyfriend's a relationship coach. So I get some like lots of insider tricks around that, which is so cool. And one of the things with that is to have it be your experience. Oh, that's so cool. Coffee's not my thing, but you know, go for it. It's so different than empirically, in my experience, this is disgusting. Oh, yeah, that's awful. But that is very yucky.
Yeah, I don't like when people do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of, yeah. Yeah. Good. Well, I will never do that to you.
If it happens, but don't worry about it. But it's one of those things that I notice right away when people, if I'm in a crowd and I see it happen, it really turns me the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if someone's really excited about something.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
energetically, I wonder what the
It's
yuck
like a
person,
pop a balloon type of
yeah.
feeling.
And what does the yuck person let themselves get excited about that other
Mm.
people have smushed down?
Right? Or it's probably happened to them in the past and they
Mm-hmm.
want to almost hurt someone else instead.
Yeah. Cynicism is, it's that cynicism is a very wet blanket. Very wet
Mm.
blanket.
I want to chat a little bit about your coaching programs and what you do, because we've went through a lot of cool things in this talk, and
Hey.
I'm sure people are already getting a taste of what you can offer to them. When do you know, as what goes through someone's life, that it might dawn on them that they need to come to someone like you? What kind of conversations are they having in their head
Mm,
that they might like, "Oh, I might need an energy coach. I might need even just some kind of mentor or someone to bounce ideas off."
yeah. If someone has an awareness that they are trying all the time, that life is work, that if they just tried a little harder, surely everything's going to work out. And if you're ready to stop trying and just start flowing, then come, let things flow. Let's have that energy be building instead of surviving.
That resonates a lot. Not only for me personally, but I know a lot of people in my immediate friend group that I hope that resonates with.
Yeah, it's a big, because we have so much capacity. We and what is it's like we want to convince ourselves that we've been doing the right thing. And so we like the idea that if I just do more, because I'm already doing the right thing, right? Aren't I? Am I good enough? Is it okay? Am I okay? Well, if I am okay, then I just need to do a little bit more of all these okay things. And what I love is that everything you're doing is wonderful. And if you'd like to try something a little different, what you want is on the other side of what you're already doing. What you're doing every day is actually what you're comfortable with and probably isn't going to change. And it's going to take a little bit of a disruption, a little bit of courage, a little 20 seconds of bravery to go into the unknown. We know how to have these lives that are lots of beautiful things, don't get me wrong, but an overarching, when am I going to shine? When am I going to feel like I get to be all of me? Is it going to feel like I'm in flow with the life I want? And when am I going to feel like I'm in the life I want? And then it's time. It's time to get on your path. And it might be me, it might be someone else, it might be me, then someone else, and someone else, and someone else. And that's perfect. It's about letting yourself have that soft landing with someone who will get you and who will help you clear the way to the magic that you already are.
How does someone know they're in the flow and on the right path to where they should be going? No, I got myself not should be going where they're intended. Help me here, Carina.
Uh, I think we know people who are happy. The easiest word is happy. The easiest word is happy. Not that you should be happy, not that you should be grateful, not that you should appreciate what you have, but that you genuinely, things flow in and out. You just genuinely, you have more things that are happening that you like than that you don't like, that you have things that you're aspiring to and the universe lines up to give it to you, that hurdles come and you find your way through them, that you don't reach at the end of every day and ask yourself, when will this be over? When will this feel better? That's when it's time.
The word that's resonating with me is bliss, when life feels blissful.
Yeah. And when you're willing to have it not be blissful, there's a lot
What do
more
you mean
bliss.
by that?
That means that if you need to talk about KPIs, you're going to talk about KPIs. But if you think you shouldn't be talking about KPIs, then the KPIs are going to get really crunchy and then you're going to KPIs. But if you are flowing with what you like and what you are sincerely curious about, then there is bliss in every moment. But if you're chasing bliss, the chase is not stretchy. The chase is striving. And that is in our heads. That is in our goals. That is for women. That's in our masculine. And that's actually holding us back from our genius.
Like we said earlier, that's a whole other podcast episode. Oh, I can talk about masculine and feminine energy every day. And it's mostly because I'm trying to unlearn things.
I really felt your energy shift when we found a different way of being in your body around gratitude. I am very excited to hear more about how that unfolds for you.
Getting out of my head and into my heart, it's going to be a tough one.
Are you willing to destroy the beliefs that it's going to be a tough one?
No, I think, Carina, I think the scary part is I know it's there and it's, am I ready to be that person or stop being who I'm being today?
So what do you get out of being today that you wouldn't get if you were in your heart?
It's a lot of masculine where it's achievement, it's getting things done, it's almost putting the walls up to kind of block out everything. But the downside of that, it's anti-flow.
You get to choose.
Mm-mm.
You get to choose. I have a favorite word, titrate. You heard the word titrate? So
No.
it's like you can picture like a aperture of camera, the camera lens where you can choose how big or how small. So just pick something small where you play with being more in flow, having the masculine serve the feminine. The masculine serves the feminine, creating something. So Apple was building something as the feminine, and Steve Jobs and Wozniak were in service to what they were creating. So having the masculine parts of you be in service to what your feminine wants to create. So it's the both seeing where the masculine can be clear where boundaries are. So it's not trampling on your feminine, and having your feminine be clear about what she wants, what she's building, what is her vision, And then the two can start to work together as a team.
I don't know if I need a glass of wine or if I need to journal, but there's going to be a lot of relaxing when we finish this.
I love it. I love
I'm
it.
I'm telling you, the tingles are there.
The tinger's unreal.
Mm.
Tingle is real.
You're good at what you do, and we haven't even scratched the surface.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah. I'm
What's
excited.
going to
Yeah.
happen tomorrow? I'm so excited.
I know, right? We'll see. Karina, we could go literally all night. What are for two questions? So the first one is, are we missing anything? Is there anything that we didn't cover that you feel needs to be said?
Think so tonight. I think we did good. It was really fun. I really loved being here with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And that leads me into the next question. Where can people find you? Shamelessly plug for us, because I think you might have your inbox overflowing after this once this gets
It's so
posted.
fun. I would love to connect with your people. So my website is CarinaReevesCoaching.com, CarinaReevesCoaching.com. My name's spelled a little funny, so maybe Google it and find there. It's Carina like Italian, although I'm not Italian. So Carina, Reeves like Keanu. And you can also find me on Facebook. Happy to, I'm checking my direct messages. And what I recommend is just, let's get on a call. I call my calls epiphany calls because we will spend the time uncovering what's true for you. What have you not even seen for yourself? So what, we won't shift all the things in one call, but you can start to get a taste of what's possible. And you will have, I guarantee, at least one epiphany that will change how you see your life.
And what does that coaching look like? Is it 1 hour a week? Is it whenever they want to schedule? Is there a process?
Yeah. So right now I am offering a group coaching program. I have a couple of one-on-one slots, so it is possible to do that. I'm really excited about this course. It's called Goddesses in Jeans. We are doing all the things. The women, I love them so much. I'm feeling so lucky, and I'm going to do, like, I get tingles just thinking about the awarenesses they're having, the the there's ripple effects that start happening when you shift one thing, you get other things happening. There's one woman who's doing hardly anything in the course and just coming on the calls, and she's having huge, like, unbelievable life shifts of how her life is occurring to her. I'm Anyway, I love this course. So this course might be the answer for you, or it might be, we could talk about one-on-one coaching. There's also, I actually teach like this energetic magic stuff. I actually, like, you can learn how to connect to source. You can learn how to hear your subconscious beliefs that are holding you back. So that actually happens as well. So there's lots of possibilities. The thing is to get on a call and let's see what's right for you.
Karina, I feel the utmost gratitude for you right now. All the tingles possible. I have a feeling that a lot of people listening to this will resonate.
No, I've just enjoyed connecting with you so,
Mm.
so much. This has been a wonderful space. My heart feels very, very full. And I'm tapping into that wonderful relaxed shoulder gratitude that you offered to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I need to lean into that a lot more.
You may love it.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you so much.